This is Randi Altman's Perspective. Randi Altman has been writing about our industry for more than 20 years. In fact, she's the editor-in-chief of her own website called postperspective.com. And as always, it's a great pleasure to say, hello, Randi, welcome back.
Hello, Larry.
Randi, I've been reading recently about the Hollywood Post Alliance, HPA, and their upcoming tech retreat next week. What's this all about, and are you going?
I am going, actually, and I will be very happy to leave this frozen tundra that I live in and head down to Palm Springs, Indian Wells, actually. So it's the HPA Tech Retreat, which is, so HPA is now sort of part of SMPTE. So this is the first tech retreat where that sort of partnership is going to be on display. So it'll be interesting to see if it's any different than years past, but based on what they have scheduled, it's going to be interesting. It's a great show. They've got breakfast roundtables, so you walk into the breakfast, you pick what topic you want to learn about that day, you sit at a table, and there's an expert, and there's a conversation that goes on. So it's kind of neat.
Well, what kind of subjects do they talk about there?
Everything. So HDR, big data, working in the cloud, post for OTT, which is big and new, virtual reality. So anything you could think of, anything you want to learn about, they've got a panel for it.
Well, thinking about new technology reminds me that last week Avid announced a new version of Media Composer. In fact, Avid's going to be on the show in just a couple minutes after you and I finish chatting. But there's also been some new announcements on cameras. What's happening there?
Yeah, it's chock full of announcements. Canon has a new DSLR that still and video, so they're targeting both. And then also AJA, which people hadn't thought of as a camera company until a couple of years ago. They introduced a small block camera, so that's going to have some use in media entertainment and also some corporate and maybe security aspects as well. But then also Panasonic yesterday, they introduced a new version of the VariCam. So that's 4K cinema camera. That's out there. People were at the event yesterday, and they were talking it up pretty nicely. It's nice and light. It's
the VariCam LT, and one of the big advantages is it doesn't weigh nearly as much as a standard VariCam, so it's a lot easier to maneuver when you're in tight places.
Correct. Yeah, it's under 6 pounds.
So that makes a lot for under 6 pounds. Can you imagine? Wow.
Yeah.
Thinking of new gear, though, Tangent announced some new hardware. What did Tangent talk about?
Well, Tangent, which is pretty well known for its colorist panels, was at IBC in September in Amsterdam talking about its low-cost offering called the Ripple. And they were showing it as a sort of a tech preview. And they got some pretty good feedback. They were initially hoping to ship it in March, but because of all the feedback they were getting, they decided to implement some of the wish lists of users that took a look at it. So they are probably shipping closer to the end of April. They'll be at NAB with the panel, and they're expecting the cost to be around $350. And they're targeting some part-time colorists, editors. So they're saying that it could sit on your desk next to your keyboard and your mouse and not get in the way.
That's very cool stuff. So when do you take off for HPA?
Tuesday morning.
Well, then we'll wish you a safe trip and give us a report from there next week, and we'll hear what the latest tech gossip is. Randi, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks. Take care.
You can see Randi and read her work at postperspective.com. And Randi will be with us, as always, next week. To read more from Randi Altman, visit postperspective.com.